and we are really emotional soup because we are like a soup of all kinds of animals, like almost all.
You're saying the symbiotic being thing?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Because we, in our emotions, we actually do act like a whole bunch of animals thinking at once.
Okay. What do you mean?
Look. Look with my finger. This is billions, millions, and billions of different particles of this fingernail is a whole bunch of different particles of keratin.
Okay.
And those, and in our body, that keratin is actually a whole bunch of emotions of different types of animals, almost all different animals, and that's
Now, when you're saying animals, are you referring to your cells, or what's up?
All living things, like in existence.
Like we're kind of like an antenna for all the other living things' brains.
No.
Okay.
Not exactly. We're a soup of all emotions of animals.
Okay.
Not just animals. Like, thinking.
Like the bacteria in your body?
Bacteria. All over the place. Right here, everywhere.
Okay.
And we're a mix of all living things.
Okay.
Emotions. So we're really emotional soup. Like we're a soup of DNA. Emotional
now,
DNA.
Correct me if I'm wrong, because me trying to understand it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm understanding, like, okay, if we're a mixture, an emotional soup, like you're saying, our thoughts are an emotional soup, then basically how we think would be like an average product of all of it.
Another way.
Is that right?
You just reminded me of
Okay, go ahead.
you using language. In a way that will help you understand it a lot better, probably. Almost up to the scale of all living things. They have a whole bunch of like dolphins. They have all kinds of. Let's say with dolphins.
Okay.
In their language of clicks and whistles and stuff.
Yeah.
Their language is a soup of. It's pretty much a soup of. A way to put it is, with dolphins, their language is a soup of the languages of a whole bunch of different animals.
Okay.
It's pretty much like that. Our voices are a soup of all kinds of different animals. Like, every way we speak is made from bugs, animals, and everything.
Very interesting. Now, what about the fact that our brains have specific electrical firing patterns that make up our thoughts? What about that?
I don't know what to say about that. I'm confused.
Well, I mean, the best way to take a theory that you have and make it stronger and more realistic is to argue against it.
I didn't.
Because if you can convince yourself that you're wrong, well, if you can't convince yourself that you're wrong, then you're more likely to be right. Now, one good practice to do is to argue as hard as you can against what you think. And if you're able to convince yourself that you're wrong, then you argue as hard as you can against that.
Okay, well, the first thing we have of that is that we're not a whole bunch of different animals. We're not like connected.
Well, not
a whole bunch of different animals. Like
Okay.
beards and stuff connected.
Okay. But can you prove that you're wrong? Is the question. Not just say the opposite statement, but can you prove that it may not be accurate?
I don't know.
Like, what is the flaw in everything? We're mixture of everything. I think the only flaw that I could think of is, well, does that mean everything else is is an emotional soup of everything else too? Like, deers are an emotional soup of all living things too?
Well, it's.
Or is it just unique for humans?
I think that with bugs and stuff, they're just the one single particle of
The soup.
yeah.
So, like,
And
deers are an emotional soup of everything below them, cognitively speaking. And dolphins are an emotional soup of everything that thinks more basic than them. And we're an emotional soup of basically everything else because we're more intelligent than anything else. Is what you're saying, basically?
Yeah, in a way, but
Like a hierarchy?
Look.
A ladder?
Yeah, like let's say with this bed.
Okay.
These different cats
Mm-hmm.
have all different all have different emotions,
Okay.
and they're into one. And like the ears, the tail, the arms, the legs are all mixed up.
Okay.
The eyes, the head are all mixed up.
Okay.
And that makes this. All of these. Like the back legs of this guy and the front legs of this guy.
Okay. So it's not like you're an emotional soup of every living thing. It's you're an emotional soup of some living things.
Yeah, but unimaginably speaking, we are actually almost just about all living things. It's
Okay.
like
Well,
it's like
from a different perspective, real quick, if you don't mind me saying.
look, the food chain in the forest.
Yeah.
Bugs are on the ground, and monkeys and stuff are in the trees.
Okay. There are bugs in the trees too, but I get what you mean. You're talking about symbolically.
Yeah, and the bottom have just one emotion. Every animal, every bug,
Insect. Yeah.
every insect, it has a single emotion.
Part of it.
a single
I thought of it.
little.
I thought of a perfect way to explain it, Tristan.
Just
Like-
a second.
Like an ant colony.
Yeah. Like,
An ant colony is more like a single organism, and each ant
like
makes up that single organism.
it's like a fungus.
Yeah.
Just spreading. No, more like a magnetic putty. Like they go to find food by magnetism, something like that.
Yeah. Now, then there's the other perspective of this, where spiritualness and God and everything.
Oh, the queen is it's an entire letter of it's the queen is and
Is like the human for
it's like technically the human, yeah. It's like the queen is the creator of all the emotions, and she has part of all the emotions of
Yeah.
every.
she's like the antenna that receives the emotions from all the others.
No, not exactly.
A receiver, an emotional receiver.
No, not a receiver. Not.
Okay.
It's like. It's like from the plug in a the plug hole in the door.
Mm-hmm.
The plug hole in the door is the queen ant, and the cord and then the cord is the emotions going through the air.
Mm-hmm.
And the emotions go to the tablet or
Yeah.
device.
Now, that is basically what I was meaning by the antenna thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when I'm saying antenna, I'm not referring to like an ant's antenna. When I say antenna, I mean like how this phone right here has an antenna in it that receives information from the internet.
And from Wi-Fi.
From Wi-Fi, yeah. And it basically, so basically what you're talking about is a human would be like a phone right here, and the rest of the living organisms are like the different servers and stuff that make up the internet that you can access with the smartphone. Technically, all of the information is available on the smartphone.
Okay, like.
But it's only if it's tuned into that right information that it comes out.
The difference. It's like it's like there's one big device, like a TV. Not a tablet.
A giant universe-sized device.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah, a universe-sized device, and
We're all part of that.
And there are millions and millions of this phone, and
And computers.
yeah.
And laptops and tablets. That make up that one giant device, right?
Okay, you're kind of fishing me around the maze.
But I'm saying what you're actually thinking, right? I'm not planting anything else, right?
I think you actually you're kind of helping in a way, and
Planting.
yeah, anyway. I'm about to say next because you kind of
I'm sorry.
me around in the maze.
I'm sorry. But what I was comprehending from this, if you don't mind real quick. Do you mind if I tell you?
It's like, I'm a fish. It's, with that, it's like, I'm a fish right here, and then you dragged me in my territory, then you dragged me on my territory, then I don't know
So basically, I messed you up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Pulled me out of my territory.
I'm sorry. Just letting you know I've been recording all of this.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because this is actually really good science, and one of these days...
This is called philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The difference between science and philosophy is the main difference is that you can directly analyze science. You can directly check it to see if you're right, find evidence regarding it. With philosophy, you're discussing the foundational knowledge of it.
Okay, I need to go pee.
Right on the camera.